People all across the gaming industry have already locked in their Game of the Year votes, and all of the awards have long been awarded to the awardees. For me, however, I somehow managed to avoid playing almost all of the games people have been filleting non-stop for the past 2 months. I only recently picked up Baldur's Gate 3 and Hogwarts Legacy during the last Steam sale. I don't have a PS5 for Spider-Man 2 or Final Fantasy 16, and I never even had time to play Pikmin 4 despite loving the demo and having it sitting right here in my hand ready to make my tiny dreams come true. Yet this video isn't about the best games of the year, it's about the best games I played of 2023. Number 5. Armored Core 6. My love of mechs is well known and extensive, but my knowledge of Armored Core up until this year was non-existent. In preparation, I played a bunch of games that were somewhat similar to Armored Core and enjoyed the concepts enough to get the game, but I still wasn't prepared for the experience I was about to encounter. Movement speed, control schemes, parts customization, and brown and gray textures so vast that I'm still not really sure if I played the game or wandered into a quarry while reading the user manual for a 1998 Toyota Corolla. The magic of building my own hyper-specific masterpiece of mech parts and weapons that simultaneously tears new assholes and half a dozen random guys driving garbage mechs was quickly stomped out by the gigantic bosses that shattered my spirit just as thoroughly as my supposedly incredible AC design. Yet I kept coming back, fueled by a blend of masochism and the desire to see what the next monotone mission Handler Walter would sacrifice me for. Number 4. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Now we can dramatically transition from our sadomasochistic relationship with From Software to the loving, pillowy embrace of Nintendo. After my adventure in rediscovering the greatness of 3D Mario games with 3D All-Stars, I still didn't feel like the 2D experience was exceeding the magical nostalgia of Mario 3. Yet Mario Wonder may have stolen that crown and ran me off the back of the map to die, only to drag me along in a bubble because it's just too damn good. It had already delivered something great simply by providing a variety of classic level designs and worlds, each including these weird flowers that talk to you like some random guy named Greg you met sitting in coach on a flight to Anaheim while every other character is just making those familiar squeaking and yelping sounds. Yet it blew me away when I realized every single level has the ability to go through a complete metamorphosis after you eat an acid trip-inducing wonder seed that introduces a whole new style of often insane gameplay while still giving you a psychotropic adventure all the way to the end. And then you still have these challenging optional levels to make the adult part of your brain feel like you aren't playing something that's actually designed primarily to entertain children. Number 3. Everspace 2. The first Everspace game was pretty good. It, like so many other space games in the past decade, was a nice little distraction while I waited for Star Citizen. But while its roguelike design was solid, it certainly didn't scratch the itch for space sim fans with its limited scope and depth. Everspace 2, on the other hand, felt like one of those nice long extendable back scratchers and got into every nook and cranny addressing itches I didn't even know I had related to my space sim desires. It looked ridiculously good in a lot of areas. It had mountains of content, the combat was engaging, the loot system brought in the familiar RPG designs while still feeling relevant to the setting, and the story wasn't terrible. It also provided a fun variety of ships to suit different gameplay styles, and upgrading felt like changing classes in an RPG just as much as it delivered that classic "I got cool new shit" feeling you normally find in a space sim. Overall, it provided everything I was looking for in a rich, meaty package without missing out on any of the fundamentals I need to appreciate a new space game, and obviously that's enough to climb pretty high on my list. Number 2. Dave the Diver. Even though I had tried the demo and it seemed like just a fun little adventure/management game, I had no idea it would take me to the depths that it did. The number of times I said, "Holy shit, there's another minigame," was probably 0 as I played the game silently on my PC, but the number of times I thought that in my internal monologue was probably more than any other playthrough I've ever done. Not only is it absolutely drowning in minigames and mechanics that make it feel fresh through nearly every moment of the experience, but practically all of them are extremely fun to play. Whether it's the numerous aspects of fishing, restaurant management, serving food, farming, or that whole-ass rhythm game, there's nothing here that felt like it was phoned in. I've seen full games that didn't have as much polish as most of these minigames. But even beyond that, the game was rich in interesting story beats and had a real sense of exploration that was surprising considering how small the environment really was. And when you tie that together with gameplay that kept blindsiding me with new and interesting mechanics as well as the ongoing drive to have a successful business, it made the 30 hours I put into it somehow seem like it wasn't enough. Number honorable mention. Viewfinder. Each year I like to give an honorable mention to a game that might have made the cut if it wasn't for something just slightly better or more likely to make someone angry enough to leave a comment. This year that mention goes to Viewfinder, a game that was an incredibly unique and challenging foray into the first-person puzzle adventure universe in a year where the only game people mentioned in that category was the Talos Principle 2, which I also didn't play. However, the first time you take a Polaroid photo with a camera, hang it up on reality and walk into it, you will say damn, and maybe actually out loud, because it's really fucking cool. Then the game keeps surprising you with new ways to bend reality as it goes along, even while the smooth flow of the puzzles starts to break down a bit toward the end. Number 1. Hi-Fi Rush. When this game surprise dropped at the beginning of the year, I don't know if many people knew what they were about to receive. I didn't know what I was getting into, but having Game Pass, there was nothing to lose. Little did I know I'd be casually strolling into one of the absolute greatest rhythm game experiences I've ever played. The combination of a spectacle fighter with a rhythm game isn't a huge stretch, but one that makes the whole world into the instruments and lets you beat asses to the beat of your face-smashing garbage guitar right alongside a fantastic soundtrack is a unique adventure. If it was that alone, it would still probably have made this list because it stands on par with almost any beat-em-up out there. Yet what took it over the top was the combined effort of a stellar cast of characters, a story with hilarious comedic moments in it, and a world that encompassed it all perfectly with a retina-scarring palette of bright colors and environment design precisely balanced between form and function. Every single boss fight is memorable in this game, even a year later, and not because they were kicking my ass the whole time like an Armored Core. Each encounter was a beautiful blend of distinct tactics and often completely bespoke approaches to using your exhaustive arsenal of precision-time musical abilities and ridiculous sidekicks. Really though, any game that can give me goosebumps on more than one occasion is going to leave an impression, and my entire collection of Goosebump books couldn't have given me pricklier skin than Hi-Fi Rush. It may be true that 2023 was a landmark year for great video games, but 2024 seems to be planting its feet to hoist some big titles onto our laps in the near future. Before you know it, it'll be time for Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Pacific Drive, and my personal rectangular hyperspace light at the end of the tunnel, Homeworld 3. You might even be weird enough to want to play Skull and Bones soon. Regardless of what you choose to jump into or avoid, you can count on me to keep you informed with a random assortment of some of those games and probably a bunch of other games you've never heard of. All brought to you with your favorite assortment of hot takes, a fresh cup of warm, steamy satire, and a crusty bathtub absolutely overflowing with tepid commentary. Now go watch all of my other videos and share this one with your friends so they too can get an arbitrary perspective on what some random guy on the internet enjoyed.